Welcome to Climate Quickies, bite-sized nuggets of climate goodness from our TEDxLondon experts in under 5 minutes.
In this week's Climate Curious, we're asking what's going on in Madagascar. Here to explain is TED speaker Ketakandriana Rafitoson, a Madagascan activist and vice chair of the global anti-corruption organisation Transparency International. She shares her story of working at the intersection of environmental human rights and political issues to empower citizens to protect their rights in the face of systemic exploitation. Let's hear more. Stay curious.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ketakandriana Rafitoson, but usually people call me Ke. I'm from Madagascar. I'm a political scientist by training and also a researcher, but mainly a community organizer and a human rights defender. Been doing this work, of community organizing for almost 20 years now, and I'm passionate about social justice. Let me just give you a brief overview of the context in Madagascar. Madagascar, as you may or not know it, is one of the most vulnerable countries in terms of climate change. And you have to know that Madagascar is also part of the 24 deforestation hotspots around the world. So we are losing around 700,000 hectares loss of forest each year. And, a long time ago, Madagascar has been known as the Green Island. But then, starting from the 80s, it has been called already the Red Island because the forest cover is disappearing in a tremendous way, an accelerated way, which is really sad. Yeah, so there is a protected area. This area, Mena, is located on the western coast of Madagascar, and it is originally composed of 21,000 hectares of dry forest, which is really something beautiful, a very unique landscape, but it has been slashed and burned since 2004, so gradually. And now we have lost almost half of this unique forest due to then this slash and burning activity from local farmers, but also because of illegal planting of crops in this protected area. So the legislation says no one should plant anything up there, okay? But there was a case about the member of parliament who hired migrants to plant some crops, especially corn and maize, in this area. And he was, their production was sold to some beverage industry. And this really devastated the area. So our communities, local communities, stood against this with the help of some civil society organizations. And thankfully, the member of parliament was arrested and then later on convicted. Not really for the destruction of the protected area, but he was convicted of murder. In Madagascar, being a human rights defender, may it be an environmental defender, it has become dangerous because of the constant shrinking of civic space in the country. Fundamental freedoms are not respected by the government and their allies, and by all kinds of corrupt people and criminals, of course. And this member of parliament was part of those criminals. So the citizen assemblies is a peaceful activity which should not be seen as a dangerous activity, but it has become a dangerous activity. And we are doing it under the radar, without any kind of advertisement or publicity. Locally, because we don't want the police to be aware of it in order to avoid any kind of repressions for our activists and for these are ordinary people, just keen to make some difference in their communities. This is not illegal at all, shouldn't be illegal. And we are dreaming about doing this openly. Perpetrators of such acts of corruption or even the destruction of the Menaria or land grabbing, massive land grabbing from local communities are all perpetrated by politically exposed people with strong networks who can protect them. And this perpetuates impunity. And this is really dangerous. And this shows us, also the weight of corruption on the environment, on our social situation, and on human rights. So we are really pledging for, better protection of human rights defenders of all kinds, especially environmental defenders, because I remember the case 2 years ago of the murder of a 70-year-old environmental defender. And his name was Henri Rakutorso, and he was just, protecting his forest and his land with this community. And he has been murdered by 30 people sent by some political authorities. That's just shocking and unacceptable. We launched, this initiative, this learning initiative aimed at nonviolent action. And our vision is really to educate people to democratic principles and fundamental rights. And then empower those people for them to understand that they have a say on things, that are happening in their lives. And the third thing is to engage them into concrete actions. So educate, empower, engage.
Thanks for listening to this quickie.
This episode was created by our superstar podcast team at TEDxLondon. Until next time,
stay curious.